In this video, we're going to take a look at the new Pecron E2000LFP, which actually has a lot of the same features as the Blue Eddy AC200 Max, a unit which I crowned as the winner in a recent video after running multiple solar generators through various tests. But the Pecron actually costs 30% less and it has more solar charging capability. So, can it dethrone the Blue Eddy to become the new king of solar generators? Let's find out. If you're new to this channel, my name is Chris, and on this channel we discuss emergency preparedness, aka prepping. In this video, we'll dig into the Pecron E2000LFP by covering the following. We're going to look over the primary specs and features of this model. We'll run it through various tests showing the DC and AC efficiency. We're going to look at pure sine wave capability, and we're going to look at the solar charging capabilities. We'll also show how it stacks up against the competition. We'll answer the question, is it the right fit for the preparedness community? I'll disclose how I get paid for these videos. We'll take an honest look at how it stacks up against the Blue Eddy. And then at the end, I'll give my final thoughts on this unit, whether I think this is a good fit for most people looking at solar generators. I will tell you up front, it does check all the important boxes for solar generators. It has a low price with a coupon, which I'll provide. It has expandability. It has fast charging via solar, and it uses lithium iron phosphate battery technology, which allows for a lot of charge cycles. Overall, it's a solid unit. So let's dive into it. Features and specs. Regarding the design, it is cast in UL94V flame retardant ABS plastic. All ports are covered by TPU protective caps. On the front, you've got 6 110 volt AC outputs, 3 DC inputs, 3 DC outputs, 6 USB outputs, and 1 wireless phone charger on the very top. Now, regarding capacity, this will hold 1.9 kilowatt hours. It can be expanded up to a total of 8 kilowatt hours. But at the time of recording this video, the company has not shipped this expansion batteries yet, something that they assured me that they'll be doing here shortly. But it is set up for an expansion, as you can see on the expansion port here on the side. Now, regarding storage, as we've discussed before, this value really indicates how much power this device stores. For example, this laptop charger uses 60 watts to power my laptop here off screen. If I were to use my laptop non-stop charging it from the Pecron E2000, I could expect about 32 hours of charge time from the Pecron's battery. Now, it doesn't exactly come to 32 hours due to efficiency issues and depth of discharge, which we'll discuss in a moment. But if you get this basic concept, you can really understand what this device is capable of. Of course, many will ask, well, how long will it charge my refrigerator or my CPAP machine or whatever device? I'll post a link at the bottom in the description section to my solar generator guide, which has a calculator. And I will populate the information from this particular model in that document. And you can select which devices you want to power, and it will show you how long the Pecron can actually power those devices. All right, regarding the AC output capability, it can handle 2,000 watts continuously and a surge of 4,000 watts. So what do those numbers mean? If I were operating several devices at once using this Pecron, let's say a hair dryer and maybe an induction cooking plate that combined pull 2,000 watts of power, this device could actually power both of those devices. Regarding surge, when you start some devices that have motors, let's say something like a fan or your refrigerator, the motor, it actually has to spin up from resting. And in this case, the wattage being pulled actually surges for a brief moment to a very high value and then settles down once the motor is actually up and spinning. Again, this is referred to as surge. And this device can actually handle 4,000 watts of surge. All right, the next value that we're going to look at is the solar charging capability. This is where this device actually stands out, which we'll discuss momentarily. It's designed to handle 1,200 watts of solar input. On the front, it has 2 MPPT charging inputs that you have to connect through a 5-pin aviation connector, which allows you to connect up to 6 panels in parallel for a total of 6 of their 200 watt panels. Now, according to their specs, you can charge this in roughly 4 hours from one AC plug-in that this ships with, allowing you to charge at 550 watts per hour. You can actually buy an additional charger to cut that time in half, bringing it down closer to under 2 hours at 1100 watts per hour. And I'll detail that in the downloadable spreadsheet to see how it stacks up against the competition. All right, regarding the noise on this unit, it produces about 55 decibel when under load, and the weight is 48.5 pounds. The battery technology it uses is lithium iron phosphate. And many manufacturers are slowly moving over to this battery technology as it has roughly 7 times the charging cycles of standard lithium batteries when properly used and stored. The downside though of this battery technology is the heavier weight. But if you're looking for something to keep at your house to charge your devices if the grid were to go down, this is a solid solution for battery technology. All right, so this device is capable of pass-through charging, which means if you have this plugged into either an AC outlet or solar panels, you could actually power a device plugged into the Pecron at the same time. Test results. Okay, so now that we've run through the specs, let's see how this device actually performs under various tests. To test the DC output efficiency, I use a simple device that allows me to put a load on the Pecron, and then it records the total output after it's drained from 100% down to 0%. After testing, I was able to get a total of 1,630 watt hours over 19 hours and 4 minutes. So that gives us a total DC efficiency of 85%. Regarding the charge time via an AC wall plug-in, it charges at 550 watts with one charger, which will take about 4 hours to charge it. And if you have the additional charger, it can charge at 1100 watts per hour, meaning you could fully charge it from empty in about 2 hours. Regarding the AC efficiency, what I do is I put the battery under a 75% load. And since it's capable of outputting 2000 watts continuously, a 75% load would be 1500 watts continuously. And I use a heat gun and a hair dryer. And you may ask why I use these devices if, for example, in a disaster situation, you wouldn't really need these as a high priority item. And the answer is that with these devices, I can actually control the output to keep the load at 75% consistently for testing purposes. Now, in a real life scenario, if I were powering several things at once, let's say something like a refrigerator, a CPAP machine, a box fan, a laptop, and a small portable air conditioner, you can easily hit around 1500 watts, which is the testing value that I'm showing here. So don't let the devices that I'm using actually confuse you. Again, refer to the capability calculator, which I'll post a link to below in the description section, which allows you to select the devices you'd like to use after a disaster. Now, once you add them all up, you'll quickly see if this device can handle the load. So under a 75% load at continuous output rate of 1500 watts, I was able to discharge it to a depth of 90%. What this means is that it keeps around 10% in the reserve to protect the battery. I was able also to achieve an AC efficiency of about 88%, which is a pretty solid number. For the pure sine wave tests, what I did is I used an oscilloscope and I tested the AC output while I put the device under 4 different loads. Now, sensitive electrical devices, they need a pure sine wave to perform properly. And without it, some devices may be damaged while other devices may be more forgiving. At 0%, I get a pure sine wave. At 50%, you can see not quite a pure sine wave, but close. And at 75%, we got about the same as 50%. Now, at 100%, we actually got a near pure sine wave, which was actually kind of impressive. All right, for solar capability, I ran tests first connecting 1200 watts in parallel and 800 watts in series of solar panels. Now, with the 1200 watts of solar panels connected, I was able to get roughly about 800 watts, which is about a 66% efficiency. And with the 800 watts of panels connected, I was able to get about 520 watts. So roughly, again, around a 66% efficiency. How it stacks up against the competition. In regards to how it compares to the other options on the market, let's run through the numbers. As shown in the spreadsheet, which I'll link to below, you can compare this unit to the other devices I've tested. You can sort the columns to see where it stands for various values. And for example, for the cost, it's actually one of the less expensive. For capacity, it's actually amongst the highest. And for cost per kilowatt, it's one of the lowest, which is great. And for AC efficiency, it's about average. And for DC efficiency, it's actually amongst the highest. For continuous and peak output, it's on the high side. And for solar max input, it does have the highest value. Again, I'll link to the spreadsheet below to allow you to play around with these values. For some of this community, various values are more important, which is why I'll give you the numbers and let you ultimately decide what your priorities are to help you determine whether this stands out in comparison to the other options on the market. And I'll give you my 2 cents at the end of this video. Useful for the preparedness community? I would say that there are 3 key features that really stand out about this unit that are typically important in this community. Number 1 is expandability. You're able to expand it up to 8 kilowatt hours. Currently, I only have the main unit for testing and not the expansion batteries, which they assured they would roll out in about a few months. Number 2, this unit actually has lithium iron phosphate batteries. And this battery technology allows you to run through roughly about 3,500 cycles while still maintaining 80% capacity of the battery. Most of your traditional lithium batteries, they only get up to about more or less 500 cycles, maybe 800 at 80% capacity. And then last, number 3, you have the ability to quickly charge the device from solar, actually up to 1,200 watts of solar input, which is really at the top end for the units in this size. But is it the right fit for the preparedness community? I would say yes. As previously pointed out, it does hit the important features, and the kicker is the pricing. Again, I'll include a coupon code below. Again, I'll also link to the spreadsheet, which has the numbers that we ran through in this unit, so you can actually see how it stacks up against the competition. Plus, the spreadsheet actually has a calculator, which will help you to determine if this will power your specific needs. How I get compensated? I will tell you up front that I get approached non-stop by companies asking me to review these type of devices. I do have some specific criteria though, namely, I try to stick with the recognized brand names, the companies that have really been around for a while. And once every blue moon, I'll try a lesser known name such as this company, Pecron. I did test their E3000 model a few months back and actually thought it was a solid option. Now, regarding compensation, it's pretty straightforward how I approach this. I charge a production fee which covers the time that it takes to test and study the device, plus the filming and editing costs that I actually incur with my team. Also, I don't do pay for play on this channel, meaning that just because a company offers to pay me to review their product, it doesn't guarantee that I'll review it. What I do is I first test it out, and if it meets my standards, it makes it on the channel. Now, I will tell you that I have received products, one recently from a very recognized company that simply didn't meet my standards, and so it didn't make it on the channel, even though they were willing to pay the fees. And I point that out simply because payment for review does not equal to me showcasing it. Beyond that, once it's on my channel, I usually make a commission via an affiliate link from the sale of each product. And that's about it. Fairly standard stuff. How does it compare to the Blue Eddy? Overall, I think it's a solid option if you're looking to save money. And this unit was clearly designed to go head-to-head with the Blue Eddy. Let's compare the two really fast. First, the storage capacity numbers are roughly the same as the Blue Eddy as well as the expandability. And you can expand both up to a maximum of 8 kilowatt hours. But the Pecron can handle 25% more solar, meaning you'll get a faster charge, but of course you're going to have to buy more solar panels. Also, you can connect up to 2 chargers to the Pecron to get roughly 1,100 watts of charging capability from your wall socket, whereas the Blue Eddy can only handle 400 watts of charging via AC. So if the grid were to go down and you are charging these devices from, let's say, a gas generator, the Pecron could actually charge nearly 3 times as fast as the Blue Eddy. Otherwise, on paper, they're very similar. But of course, the main selling point is that the Pecron comes in at a much lower price point, nearly 30% less. With the coupon code that I'll provide below, it's a substantial saving. Plus, the Pecron, it actually weighs 48 pounds. The Blue Eddy is 62 pounds, so the Blue Eddy is definitely heavier. So yeah, on paper, it's a strong contender. The Blue Eddy does have an app that allows you to connect it via your phone with an app, but the Pecron does not. Additionally, the Blue Eddy does have a 30 amp hookup on the front, whereas the Pecron does not. Final thoughts. So after everything that we've gone through, you may be asking, isn't this the best option on the market then? If you recommended the Blue Eddy in the past and this beats it, is this the new king? I have primarily stayed with the big names in this industry. Blue Eddy, Jackery, Energy, Goal Zero, and EcoFlow, as they really have a history and their names and products are established. Well, I'm not going to say Pecron by any means is a pop-up or fly-by-night company, because it's not. I honestly haven't seen as many reviews online, and I'm waiting to get more feedback from other channels. I do follow Hobotech, his YouTube channel, as his channel specifically reviews solar generators, and he's done a few different Pecron products, so I know these are not a complete unknown. So while I'm comfortable recommending this product, just know that's really my only hesitancy. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with this, actually quite the contrary, but I guess I'm just waiting to see more reviews from larger channels. But as you can see from testing, it's a very legit option, but I have no issue recommending it based on the criteria that are important in this community. It's honestly one of those devices that kind of checks off all the boxes for things that I know are important: price, expandability, fast charging, and of course the lithium iron phosphate battery. Hopefully this video gave you enough information to help you if you're getting serious considering buying a unit like this. Again, I'll link to the spreadsheet below, and you'll be directed to a sign-up page, and after signing up, you'll get access to everything that I cover. I would highly encourage you to watch my solar generator guide for 2022, which I'll post a link to up in the cards above and at the very end of the video. Again, after you watch that video, you'll probably have a much better understanding of this model, even more than what I explained in this video. As always, stay safe out there.